Hey guys, this is WWE NXT superstar Dominic Dijakovic. I want you to feast your eyes on the Heel Steven YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe everything on there, and be sure to check out Around the Point and The Throwback. Feast your eyes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope all of you are having a wonderful Tuesday. As this Tuesday morning, as I'm doing this recording, it is right now, as we speak, May 26th, 2020. This is your Raw review for May 25th, 2020, the Memorial Day edition of Monday Night Raw. I hope all of you guys had a wonderful Memorial Day, whether you went out to the beach safely, I hope, to the lake safely, I hope, or maybe you did a barbecue at home safely, I hope, or maybe on Memorial Day you were on Twitter the entire Monday and seeing it going down between Alexa Bliss and JD from NY206. Holy crap. People have been asking me my thoughts on all this, what's been going on and all that, and I will give my thoughts on it, just not today. I will wait for Sunday on Around the Point to give my thoughts on the whole thing. So if you want to hear my thoughts, tune in on that, and I'll give you guys my overall opinion on what went down on Monday on Twitter. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching the video, tuning in back into the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button down below. Give the video a big old thumbs up and share it through social media, because why the fuck would you not? So this past Saturday, myself, Big Mike, and Chase Oliver, we all got together and we reviewed AEW Double or Nothing 2020. We gave our overall thoughts on the show, our thoughts on the Stadium Stampede. Hell, Chase went out of his way and gave what I thought was a very good rant on Shawn Spears. And we just hope that all the AEW toxic fans out there could admit for once in their lives that, hey, they were wrong the whole time. So again, if you want to check that out, it's in the video archives of this channel. Also available on all the podcasting platforms where you can listen to Around the Point, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, Spotify, also over at Anchor.fm. If you want to check out the audio version of the AEW Double or Nothing review with myself, Big Mike from Big Mike Wrestling Recap Show, and Chase Oliver. So Monday Night Raw last night. What can I say about it? Backlash is literally almost here, and gotta say, overall, I thought this show was solid, in my honest opinion. It was a solid show. Let's point out the big obvious, if you will, that they have a crowd, finally, sorta. Apparently, there was talks that they're going to use the NXT talent and some of the trainees, if you will, from the PC to stand there as a live audience. And we can all sit here or stand in this case, depending how you're watching this video, and say that, hey, they're copying AEW, this and whatnot. You knew that was going to come. And granted, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I think AEW, as far as them doing the empty arena shows, they found the formula to do it right with using their own roster as the audience, if you will, right? And that's awesome. They're miles ahead on that. I feel like here what WWE did, okay, in case you're wondering, they had everyone stand around the ringside area behind the barricade, and they had these giant, like, plexiglasses, if you will, right? Surrounding the whole ringside area, basically. So you couldn't get that interaction, if you will. Like, say you were at a wrestling show, right? When a wrestler hit the barricade, you could touch them on the shoulder, what have you. You couldn't do that. There's a giant plexiglass covering, but you can't even do that. And I think, again, with this overall crowd that WWE had as their NXT, roster, some of the trainees, it's cool, awesome. You have some sort of a crowd because it's better than just having an empty building show. However, I'll say this too. I feel like, to me at least, just to me, and I don't know how maybe you guys may feel about this, I felt like that NXT crowd, that trainee crowd, if you will, right, that were there, it just felt very hokey. felt very, very forced. It felt very choreographed almost. What they were sharing, what they were reacting to. It's like your robotic WWE audience that WWE wants to have at their shows. But again, it's cool, awesome. They're finally getting into that whole concept. No longer an empty building show. And I think also the big picture in this too, the reason why they have the plexiglass, right, is simple. And I think this went over everyone's head. Eventually, yes, WWE wants to go back to doing their show like they usually did back in the day. But when they had that plexiglass, it's a message to every governor in every state in the country that, hey, listen, whenever you guys open up again and we can do shows in arenas again, this is what we're going to do. We are going to have these giant plexiglasses, right, protecting the wrestlers from the audience. I feel like, yes, once the shows come back to arenas, a lot is going to change. It's not going to be the same anymore. Yes, it's going to be awesome, the fact that we're going to be there reacting all the fuck you want. Like, I can only imagine how that first show with the crowd in an arena is going to be. It's going to be fucking amazing. But at the same time, it's not going to be how all of us remembered how it was prior to COVID-19 and the world going to shit. And it's a message, again, from WWE to every single state's government and all that stuff, and what's going to go down going forward until there is a vaccine for COVID-19. But I do feel, again, that WWE, again, compared to AEW, is doing the right protocol when it comes to them having a crowd in their shows. In this case, again, like I mentioned earlier, being the NXT roster and the trainees. But that's my take on that, guys. Give me your thoughts in the comment threads below, or let me know on Twitter what I just mentioned right now. So here tonight, or my bad, last night on Raw, we have a new U.S. champion in Apollo Crews. He finally did it. After being in WWE, it feels like forever, like 2016, I think it was. Yeah, 2016. Finally in WWE, or 2015. Let me correct myself. 2015, being in WWE, and he finally wins a championship 5 years later, and he finally wins a title in WWE, beating Andrade. Angel Garza got a win over Kevin Owens. We had the number one contenders match to determine who will challenge Asuka at Backlash and all that fun stuff. And Drew McIntyre and Lashley continuing their feud going into Backlash. We had Ric Flair appear via satellite, talking about Edge and Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss and stuff like that. But again, all that stuff and more. If you liked the show, if you liked Raw last night, let me know in the commenters below. If you hated the show, let me know as well. Or hell, maybe you feel like, you know what, I just didn't watch, I didn't give a shit. It is what it is. Okay? It is what it fucking is. So this show kicked off with the KO show. Kevin Owens show, basically, like interviewing Asuka. And Asuka just speaking in her Japanese language, right? Just screaming and shouting, speaking some English words, and then gets interrupted by Charlotte Flair, who basically she said, hey, you know, she should have been given the title, not Asuka, right? She reminds Asuka that, hey, she beat her at WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans, ended the undefeated streak of Asuka. She beat her on SmackDown. Asuka's never beaten Charlotte Flair. And then gets interrupted by Natalya. Natalya comes out. Before she even says a word, out comes Nia Jax. And she's like, and then Owens gets out of the ring, and she's saying that, you know what, she's going to beat both Charlotte Flair and Natalya, because again, that was the triple threat match for later on in the night. As if, when you think about it, right? As if Charlotte really needs this match. She is the current NXT Women's Champion. To me, at least, it felt like she didn't belong in the match, in my humble opinion. Charlotte Flair, when you think about it, right? She lost twice to Shayna Baszler. If anything, Shayna Baszler should be in the match. That's just my opinion. But that's around the point. And they ended up brawling here and there, and that was that. That was the way to kick off Monday Night Raw, to get people invested in the triple threat match later on in the night, but that was it. We then had the first match on the show. We had Andrade versus Apollo Crews for the WWE US title. Apollo's second attempt at the US title. Remember a couple weeks ago on Raw, they went at it and he fucked up his leg, which ended up costing him the spot at Money in the Bank. So here they have the match. And I gotta say, overall, again, this match, for me at least, thought was okay. And WWE, during this match, right, they cut away from the match in the middle of the whole thing, right, to an Angel Garza interview. And Cruz won with a standing shooting star press, winning, again, his first championship. And again, overall, listen, it's good for him. Good for him. For a guy that, when you think about this too, right, during this whole pandemic, right, when you hear a lot of the roster wanting to stay home, not be at the Performance Center, not taking the risk and all that stuff, and you have guys like Apollo Crews on television every single week, busting his ass, making the best out of the situation that we're in right now, and this is how you get rewarded. Good for him on that. And the fact that he's now a U.S. champion, awesome. I'm pretty sure this reign won't last, but I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. That's good on him for that. At the same time, would I have taken the belt off Andrade right now? No, I really wouldn't. But hey, that's just me, of course. But Apollo Crews is now the new WWE US champ after he did an interview in the ring talking about the grind, dedicating himself, and hard work, and it finally paid off. His first title win in WWE. This is what Apollo put on Twitter after: the grind never stops, and it won't stop now. Here's where the hard work really begins. Thanks to everyone who has supported me since day one. Let's make this the first of many. Hashtag new, hashtag United States champion, hashtag WWE Raw, at USA Network, at WWE. So there was that. We get a Seth Rollins promo backstage, and he has Rey Mysterio's mask, right? Apparently, Rey Mysterio next week will be having a retirement ceremony. And also in this promo, he's talking about his newest disciple, that being Austin Theory. And also Buddy Murphy. Murphy and Theory both spoke how they're both, thankful for Seth Rollins and where they were before and where they're at now, all because of the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins. Rollins in the suit still, which is fine. It is what it is. So there was that. And again, I look forward to seeing where this goes. A tag team of Austin Theory and Buddy Murphy. I'm sorry, Murphy. I can't call him Buddy Murphy anymore. He's Murphy. But I guarantee you, though, Austin Theory is going to get his name changed down the road. I do feel that. Granted, I said this last week, right? When you saw that confrontation of Austin Theory with Andrade and Angel Garza backstage, he had that old school vibe. I didn't say it, but I said it to myself on Twitter, too. Like, he had this, aura to him of a 2002 John Cena ruthless aggression version, if you will, which is awesome. Very good to see, because again, I feel like someone like Austin Theory is the guy that's going to be for the future down the road. And I know there could be, and I know there's a lot of talent there too, like an Angel Garza, like an Apollo Crews, like I just mentioned, a Buddy Murphy. But I think out of all of them, I think there could be a lot of money with Austin Theory as a top babyface. I get that feeling. And why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? I'm just saying. So from there, we get the Iconics in the ring. They apologize to each other because last week, Peyton Royce slapped Billy Kay after what was supposed to be last week, the tag team title match between the Iconics and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. And here they apologize to one another. Then out came Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. It's funny because, again, the whole thing happened early yesterday with Alexa Bliss and JD from NY206. All that is kind of like, okay, let's see what's going to happen now, right? So they're in the ring, and Nikki Cross cuts, in my opinion, the best promo of her WWE run this far. And again, you rarely hear her speak. You rarely do. And I'm happy that they actually let her speak. They let her just express herself. It was awesome. Talked about how she came all the way from Glasgow, Scotland with nothing, and she had to struggle and scratch and claw and make sacrifices to finally get where she's at. and how she had no friends, and Alexa Bliss accepted her and showed her respect and all that stuff. A good way, again, to put over Alexa Bliss, put over her struggles, what she had to go through, and her embracing the grind. And then they brawled. And then this led to the Iconics having the upper hand and beating up both Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. Likely this match will happen again at Backlash, because why the fuck not? So there was that. Drew McIntyre was a guest on MVP's VIP lounge. MVP said that when he offered to manage McIntyre and McIntyre claymored him, he decided that he would end McIntyre's then upcoming WWE Championship run. And then Lashley was brought out. And when Lashley came out, as it was happening, Drew claymores MVP. And he demands Lashley to get into the ring. Like, hey, I want this Lashley's fight. He wants to fight him right there and then. Because again, Drew McIntyre is like, hey, listen, everything that he's done is by himself. He didn't need someone to kiss his ass. Like, I guess MVP doing for Lashley and all that stuff, right? But the fact also that, hey, you know, why it took Lashley 13 years or 13 years to finally get a WWE title match, it took Drew 19 years. So again, you know what? For a lot of people that are not big on this feud, I look forward to seeing the match. Again, they had a good match or a good program in TNA. Granted, I know this is not TNA, Steve. This is WWE. I get that. But let me just enjoy the match for what it's worth. I do think, again, they're going to go out there and just have a fight. And why the fuck not? Awesome. Let them go out there at Backlash and have a fucking fight. Even though Backlash's new slogan is the greatest wrestling match of all time or some shit like that. The best wrestling match ever, or the greatest wrestling match ever. Whatever the fuck it is, it's corny as shit. It's very hokey. But let's see what happens. Let's see what fucking happens, okay? So there was that. We then get Angel Garza versus Kevin Owens. Garza attacked Owens during his entrance. Worked on the leg. Owens tried to get some momentum, but again, his leg was killing him. It was hurting him like crazy. He did a swanton for the top rope, but he was struggling to get to the top rope. He went for the package. He went for the not package pile driver. This is not Kevin Steen. He went for the pop-up power bomb, but his leg gave out, which gave Garza the opportunity to hit the wing clipper. And 1, 2, 3, Angel Garza beats Kevin Owens. The fact that he beat a former Universal Champion and Kevin Owens, it's awesome. A big profile win in his resume thus far. And I said this before too, just like Austin Theory, Angel Garza is money down the road. And I look forward to seeing where they go with him. Granted, with this whole thing with Andrade and Zelina Vega, awesome, cool. But let's see where this goes down the road. So there was that. We then get the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders. Apparently, there anything you can do, I can do better challenges going on. You know, the first week they're playing basketball. Last week they're doing the axe throwing. And here they're playing golf, which then leads them to go and play mini golf, which I honestly prefer. I'm more of a mini golf guy than I'm playing golf. Granted, I live around a golf course, but where I live at is a golf course, but still, you will never see me playing golf. It's just not for me. Now, if this is mini golf, I'm in there. In mini golf, I'm like Tiger Woods. I'm just saying, right? I thought that was funny. And again, I enjoy these stuff because it's very comedic, if you will. It's very comedy type. I'd rather have them do this than have them just have another match. You know they're going to have another match, likely at Backlash for the tag team titles. Duh, obviously, no shit. But I'm fine with this. I'm very fine with this, right? And it's funny because the Viking Raiders thought they won. They thought they won this whole thing, but no, it didn't happen. Apparently, the Street Profits won, and it looks like next week we're going to bowling. They're gonna bowl, and you know what? I love bowling too. Believe it or not, whenever I go on a date with a girl, it's either we're going out to a movie, going out to eat some dinner, or let's play bowling. Now, granted, to me, bowling should be like on the fourth date, third date, if you will. Want to tag another couple with you guys, go ahead. That's when I think bowling really comes into play. When I bowl, I'm like Fred Flintstone. Put my toes up in the air and I throw the ball in. You kind of get the idea, right? The visual of Fred Flintstone playing bowling, if you get, that's how I am basically. Bumper bowling. Let me just say right now, bumper bowling is my shit. So there's that. That's happening next week. Bowling with the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders. We had backstage Lana MVP arguing about Lashley, so there was that. We had Murphy and Austin Theory versus Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo. And Theory pinned Carrillo after an ATL. After the match, Rollins threatened to put Carrillo's eye out, just like he did to Rey Mysterio, if Black didn't stand down, right? And next week, Black versus Rollins, that being Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins, is going to happen next week on Raw. But again, I enjoyed this for the simple fact that, hey, we're seeing this new tag team in Austin Theory and Buddy Murphy. They're now the Disciples of Rollins. That's probably the name of them, the Disciples. I don't fucking know, right? So you want them to feel like a big deal. Give them a win. Made a lot of sense. A lot of fucking sense. And then you have Rollins, who again injured Rey Mysterio. That's his thing now. Anyone that fucks with him can have Theory and Murphy trying to do to anyone that fucks with Rollins what Rollins did to Mysterio. And Rollins has the Mysterio mask on his hand. Granted, like I said earlier, next week we're gonna get this whole retirement ceremony, right, for Rey Mysterio, which I don't think is gonna happen. I think this is just a program, just a swerve, if you will, bro, a swerve, bro, just to get Rollins versus Mysterio at Backlash. I see that happening down the road at Backlash. So I'm fine with that. Believe it or not, be a fun little match. All the fuck you want. Backstage, we had Edge talking about his upcoming match at Backlash, and a match again. Obviously, he's facing Randy Orton, and how this will be the greatest wrestling match ever. Talks about how back then Edge was able to again help people, make them be at his level, and make them feel like they belong and all that stuff, right? And how when he started, he wrestled the likes of an Owen Hart, Kurt Angle, Jericho, all these names that he mentioned, right? And how he had to be at their level and then help the new talent that were coming in to be at Edge's level as Edge got successful and stuff. And he was able to do all that stuff and be amazing at that. But now, you know, he's not sure if he can do that anymore. And listen, you know, as silly as the name is, the greatest wrestling match ever, because it really is corny. You know they're going to market the shit out of it. It's actually trademarked apparently now all of a sudden. Who's to say, right? They actually go out there and they have the greatest wrestling match ever, which I know they won't, but who's to say, right? Hypothetically speaking, if any two guys can do it, probably those two, right? Likely though, I feel like this will be very cinematic though. I get the feeling this is the match on the show that they're gonna try to go the cinematic route. But I could be wrong on it. I could totally be wrong on that. From there we had MVP confront the Street Profits about them being clowns, right? And they made fun of him. The Street Profits made fun of MVP for getting, his ass, getting kicked in the face by Drew McIntyre. And this set up later on in the night the Street Profits versus MVP and Lashley for the main event. So there was that for later on. We had the triple threat to determine the number one contender for the Raw Women's Championship for Asuka's title, right? You had Asuka on commentary. You had Nia Jax versus Natalya versus the NXT Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. And like I said before, I don't know why Charlotte was in the match. I don't know why. You think about it, Charlotte's on Raw, right? She's part of the Raw roster. She's the NXT Women's Champion. And now she's also on SmackDown here and there, right? But she's everywhere. Holy shit. She's fucking everywhere. I'm good at seeing Charlotte once a week. I don't need to see her 2 times a week. Granted, I don't even watch SmackDown. But goddamn. So, to me, I just feel like she didn't belong in this match because, again, she's holding the NXT title. And you can't sell me the idea that she's going to be a double champion. Not happening. So, at the same time, Natalya lost to Shayna Baszler twice. I don't know why she's even in this match. Like, you kind of knew a mile away where this was going. You knew that Nia Jax was getting the win. A mile away. From what happened a couple weeks ago when Nia took out Kairi Sane and all that stuff, right? So you kind of knew where they were going with this, right? And obviously, again, this match for what it was okay. for what it was. Multiple times, Charlotte went for the figure eight, and Natty went for the sharpshooter. They gave you this belief that that Natty was going to win, but no, at the end of the whole thing, it was all said and done. Nia Jax got the win, even though both Charlotte and Natty did a double power bomb on Nia onto the announcer's table. But all that, she found a way to win with the Samoan drop. And with that, Nia Jax will go on to Backlash to face Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. So there's that. Fine. Whatever. Okay? Whatever. Apparently, R-Truth and Rob Gronkowski cut promos on each other by video, which included Gronk calling Truth R lies, apparently. Again, Gronk is still the fucking 24/7 champion, and R-Truth wants his belt back. He needs that belt back. And for what it's worth, listen, a program of R-Truth and Gronk can be funny. Granted, I'm not big on Gronk being in WWE. I'm really, really not. But as far as a profile for R-Truth, it's something to put on his resume. Hey, he did a program with Rob Gronkowski. I'm sure there's a payday in that. All the fuck you want, but it's not like whatever. To me, it is what it is. I don't care. That's fine. As long as the belt is back to R-Truth, that's fine. Because when I think of that 24/7 title down the road, I'm going to identify it with R-Truth. I think everyone, right, in wrestling, when we look at a title, we identify it with a certain someone, right? I would say the Universal title, a lot of you will put it with Brock. I'm sure, right? The Intercontinental title, I guess a lot of you would connect that to, dare I say, maybe Shawn, maybe all. But again, it depends who you want to put with each title, if you will. When I think back at the WWE title from 2003, I connect that with Brock, believe it or not. When I look at the big gold or the big eagle belt from the Attitude Era, I connect that with Austin, if you will. When I look at the Winged Eagle WWE title, I connect that to Hogan or Bret Hart, or hell, even Shawn Michaels. Well, but you kind of get the idea, right? So when I look at the 24/7 title, I connect that with R-Truth. So there's that. And after this, we get Ric Flair via video, because again, they hyped him up that he was going to be there, but no, via video. He believes that Randy Orton will defeat Edge in the greatest wrestling match ever. And keep this in mind, the reason why they brought Ric Flair in there is because apparently, again, Ric Flair faced them all, right? Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, Barry Windham, Ricky Steamboat, Sting. And again, all these matches, all the names that I mentioned, were considered by a lot of people in that time period as the greatest wrestling matches in history, if you will. So it's fitting, yeah, let's bring Ric Flair, who had thousands upon thousands of great wrestling matches, if you will, to talk about Edge and Randy Orton and how Ric Flair has a history with both guys. So it makes sense. Why the fuck not? Awesome. Granted, it's still a silly name, but hey, there's that. And then after this, we had Liv Morgan, who apparently still doesn't know who she is. Whatever, I don't care. Then we get the main event. The Street Profits versus MVP and Lashley. It ends in a DQ when Lashley refused to release the full Nelson and got his team disqualified. After the match, Lashley and Drew McIntyre brawled. They had some of the guys from the NXT attendance, fans, if you will, come in and try to break this shit up. But again, it's a brawl, which you kind of need to get people talking about Lashley and Drew McIntyre, get people invested, I guess, in what's going to happen at Backlash. So there's that, okay? Overall, again, I thought Raw, in my honest opinion, was a solid show. I think the fact that you have a crowd now helps a lot. It's better than what it was a couple of weeks ago when there was no crowd at all. Nothing. Again, I think AEW, right, does it better than WWE right now, but I think WWE has a better protocol. Because, again, they want to have fans back in the buildings, right? Especially in arenas. So what they're doing is, again, being ahead of everyone, right? Let's show every state government, right, a message. Hey, listen, when you guys reopen all your states and when you reopen the arenas, when we go back to the arenas, we have the audience back, the crowd. This is what we're going to do until there's a vaccine for COVID-19. Have these giant plexiglasses, right? So protecting the wrestlers and the fans. So there isn't that interaction anymore. So I'm all for that. I really, really am. At the same time, though, what I'm not for is this notion of fans like shitting WWE for doing that. Granted, it'd be cool if they had some chairs, like let the talent sit down, if you will. But AEW, it's a fucking free pass. I hate that shit. Like, come on. We're the same energy. I'm just saying. Anyway, guys, give me your thoughts in the comments below. Your thoughts on Monday Night Raw. Did you enjoy the show or not? Follow me on Twitter at HeelSteven. And again, if you guys have not checked out yet, myself, Big Mike from Big Mike Wrestling Recap Show, and Chase Oliver, we gave our thoughts on Double or Nothing. It's, again, in the video archives of this channel. It's also in the audio podcasting platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, Anchor.fm, also over at Spotify. You can listen to our Double or Nothing review of 2020. We gave our thoughts on literally everything about the show, Stadium Stampede, the ladder match. Chase did a rant on Sean Spears. I think you guys should all listen, especially all you toxic AEW fans who I hope you guys admit that you guys were wrong. But that's around the point. Thank you all for watching. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. I'm Steve, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, dorks.